simplifying cube roots. To simplify cube roots, all what we need to do is find the prime factorization of each of these numbers. For example, number 8. To find it, all what I have to do is use prime numbers. Prime number is a number that is divisible by itself and 1. For example, number 2. I can divide only number 2 by 2 and 1. I'm not going to be able to divide it by 3 because then I'm going to get decimal numbers, or by 5. Also, the same thing happens with number 3. I can divide it only by 3 and 1. Number 5, I can divide it only by 5 and 1. And the same thing happened to number 7. And the list doesn't end because the next number after number 7 should be 11, 13, 17, 19, and so on. Anyway, that's what prime numbers are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite number 8. And what I'm going to do is to find the prime factorization. I always like to start with the smallest number. On this case, it's going to be 8. So I'm going to be dividing by 2. And the answer should be 4. Now, one more time, I'm going to keep dividing by 2 as many times as possible. So if I divide by 2, then I get 2. And on this case, I was able to divide this number 8, and this will be the prime factorization. I wanted to understand that these numbers are prime numbers. Now that I have the answer should be 2 to the third power. If you can see, you count 1, 2, 3, and that is going to give you, if we rewrite number 8 using the prime factorization, then it's going to be 2 to the third power. Now, the answer then should be by using the formula. The formula just tells you that this number 3 is going to be dividing the exponent. Well, if that is the case, then we can rewrite it this way. 3 divided by 3. Well, if we divide 3 divided by 3, you get 1. Because the exponent is 1, we don't write it. So the answer for this, cube root of 8, the answer is going to be 2. Okay. Um, the same thing uh, will happen to number 27. We need to start by rewriting 27, and now we're going to start dividing. Can you see that 27, I'm not going to be able to divide it by 2, but then the next number is going to be 3. So I can divide 27 by 3. If I divide it by 3, the answer is going to be 9. And on this case, if I can keep dividing by 3, I'm going to keep dividing by 3 as many times as possible. And on this case, if I divide 9 by 3, the answer is 3. The answer should be these prime numbers. And we can check and see if we got the right answer. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is going to be 27. So that means that I can rewrite number 27 as a number to the third power. And that's what you want to have inside the cube root. And the reason is because this number is 3, you want to have a number inside the cube root with an exponent that is going to be to the third power. And the reason is very simple. So this number 3 is going to be dividing the exponent. Okay? So, and now if we divide 3 divided by 3, the answer is 1. Because the answer is 1, we're never going to write the 1. And the answer for this cube root of 27, the answer should be 3. Okay. Let's do the next one. I want to rewrite 64 on the way that this number 3 will be able to divide the exponent. And I'm going to start by rewriting 64. And 64 because this number is even. What it means is that I can divide this number 64 by 2. If I divide by 2, the answer is 32. I can still divide by 2. The answer should be 16. If I divide this by 2, the answer is going to be 8. If I divide this by 2, the answer is 4. And if I divide this by 2, the answer is 2. The answer should be, can you see that all these numbers are prime numbers? Okay. On that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to use this. And just to check the answer, all what you have to do is go back multiplying. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64. And now what I want to do is I want to rewrite this 64 using the prime factorization. So I'm going to write cube root, and I'm going to count number twos. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because the exponent is going to be 6, I will be able to divide it by 3. Okay. Now if I divide it by 3, so I'm going to rewrite it 2 to the 6th power divided by 3. And that is going to give you 6 divided by 3. The answer is going to be 2. And 2 times 2 is going to be 4. That means that cube root of 64, the answer is going to be 4. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing with 125. And I need to find the prime factorization. So I'm going to start by writing 125. And I know I'm not going to be able to divide it by 2 or 3, but I will be able to divide it by 5. Okay. If I divide it by 5, the answer should be 25. Now, I'm not going to be able to divide I'm not going to be able to divide this by 3 or 2, but I know I can divide it by 5. Okay. And now this is the answer. Can you see that all these numbers are prime numbers? Okay, to know if I can get the same answer, all what I have to do is go back. 5 times 5, you get 25. Times 5, you get 125. So I know this is the right answer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rewrite cube root and 125. I'm going to use the prime factorization. So I'm going to rewrite it using its factors, which is 5 to the third power. Okay. Now to get the answer, all what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this number 3 is going to divide the exponent. And 3 divided by 3, the answer is going to be 5. So cube root of 125, the answer is going to be 5. Okay. Now, whenever you have, in this case, 1000, um, the way how I want you to remember how we can rewrite this number, especially when it's like, for example, numbers that have zeros, like on this case, 1000. So if you have 10, that should be 10 to the first power. 100, you can rewrite it. Or what you do is count how many zeros you have. You have two of them, and that should be 10 squared. And then 1000, count how many zeros you have. You have three of them. That would be 10 to the third power. So this is a little bit different. Whenever you have numbers like 100, okay, that's how you're gonna be able to rewrite it using exponents. Okay, let's say 10,000. Count how many zeros you have. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. That should be 10 to the fourth power. Okay. So on this case, I know this is how it works. That is the rule. And because I have one, two, three zeros, I know I can rewrite 1,000 inside the cube root using 10 to the third power. Okay. Now to simplify this number 3 is gonna divide the exponent. Okay. And once you divide 3 divided by 3, the answer is gonna be 1. Because the exponent is 1, you're never gonna write the 1. So cube root of 1,000, the answer is gonna be 10. And that's how we get the answer.